Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again, and today we begin another season with this Russian-based team here on A Nation United. Very interesting time for this team, as the last offseason went about as well as it could have. Again, things are slowly but surely coming together as all the pieces are beginning to fall into place. This is the squad that we're going to start the season with. This team, it's about as good as it can get without me making a couple of risky moves, and those are moves that I am not willing to make. Of course, we ended the last episode with some frustration trying to get Alex Romanov and Dmitry Orlov, and that just wasn't going to happen. But it will happen eventually. Now, this forward core is impressive, but obviously Malkin at 36 and Ovi at 36, they're not long for this team. We'll see what happens this year, but at the end of the day, they're likely to be traded. The only way they're not going to be traded is if we're really good this year, and then we'll trade our first round pick instead at the deadline to bring in defensive help. But with this forward core, particularly that top six, as strong as it is, we have a very good third line with Mikheyev, Barbashev, Goldobin, and a very competitive fourth line. We might be able to make something happen here. Now, the reason I don't want to go out and trade really any of the three on the third line is because, simply put, Malkin and Ovechkin, again, aren't going to be here for that long. So imagine they're not here, and then every center and right wing essentially gets shifted up a line until our prospects are ready, and then these guys slowly get replaced. It's a waiting game right now as we wait for a lot of our prospects to develop. The thought is, okay, maybe trade some of our prospects to go out and get defensive help, but we're not going to be able to afford that major defensive help right now. We saw that in the last episode. This is the best version of our defense that we've had yet, and I'm hoping the 2+3s for the top two pairings help out a lot. And again, the goaltending is as good as it's ever been with Shesterkin and Yaroslav Askarov. So, of course, when it comes to the players that are out there, we are going to struggle to find defensemen. That's just the way it works in a Russian series. I hate to tell you, but that's just how it is. The top-notch players that are out there are super expensive. This we know. When it comes to goaltenders, these are the top options that are out there right now that aren't on the team. Obviously, it makes no sense to go out and try to get Vasilevsky or Samsonov because it's just not going to happen. It doesn't make any sense, too. With Askarov on the team, he should develop to be at least Vasilevsky level. So it doesn't make any sense to go out and do anything there. Forward-wise, obviously, there are some tremendous players I'd love to get my hands on. Even some players with lesser value like Gusev, Kaprizov. That would be amazing. But then defensively, we have Provorov and Sergachev. And then it's a massive step down. Orlov and Romanov, and then Teratukin and even Dmitry Samorukov could be decent enough for us. I think one way or another, we're going to end up with Orlov and Romanov by the end of this season. Around February, more than likely, with the trade deadline, is when we're going to end up with these two players. I can't really imagine it going any other way. And that is because, again, we will either have Malkin and Ovechkin that we can trade, or if we're in a playoff spot, we'll be able to move our first-round pick. Right now, we just don't know which one of the two is worth moving. And obviously, we're not going to be moving the big names right now with Malkin and Ovechkin. That first-round pick could be worth a lot, and whether or not it's worth keeping is really dependent on who's in the draft next. So it is a lot of wait and see. And obviously, right now, we do have someone like Chistov, who obviously I'm hoping will develop in the AHL this year. If we don't see much development out of him this season, yeah, you could start to consider that he would be a really good player to trade to try and go out and get some help, whether, forward or defense, for that matter. We do have guys like Medvedov, who obviously we're not going to move. Amarov's still looking good. This group of medium top six forwards. Kulemin, I'm not going to deny. Yeah, trading Kulemin right now to try and go out and get Alex Romanov might be the right move, especially, too, pair him with Vishnevsky, probably have it be a little bit overvalued and we get draft picks back. I don't disagree that could be the right move. Hell, that could be what pushes us into a playoff spot. I don't deny that. But we just have too many unanswered questions, especially to not knowing just how strong this draft class is going to be yet. And obviously we can look right now, but we're not going to have a ton of info. So we're going to play it slow and steady for this season, continue to see what happens, and hopefully we make the right move at the right time. Now, Vladimir Tarasenko is the captain of this team currently. That is not going to stand because obviously things have changed quite a bit. So Tarasenko, I hate to do this to you, but we have a couple of changes to make. First and foremost, Alex Ovechkin is going to be getting the number 8 from Zykov. I actually think it is going to be Malkin as the assistant captain. Ovi's the captain. I'm sorry. Alex Ovechkin is the captain now. I'm actually going to give the other A to Dmitry Kulikov because I greatly prefer having one defenseman, at least having a letter. So there we go. Alex Ovechkin gets the number 8 back. All is well with the world. He is the captain of the Dynamo moving forward. So let's do this. Let's see how this team is able to perform. Again, is the option out there to go out and get an Orlov and a Romanov? Absolutely. Would we be able to get both of them right now? We went past the lines. Would we be able to get both of them right now without it costing us a decent amount? No, we wouldn't. It would be a little bit more expensive than I care for it to be. And yes, Dmitry Orlov's value should drop if he doesn't re-sign a contract as we get closer to the deadline. So just let me fix up these lines really quickly. The good thing is I actually have the lines written down in a Word document right now, so quick and easy to know exactly how we had it set up. As we get Sokolov back in there. And defensively, it's Alexeyev, Kulikov. It is Lyabushkin down, and there we go. Perfect. So let's check the ratings. Obviously, I would assume the offensive ratings would be rather respectable this year for the first time. I mean, the offense looked okay last year. Well, let's see what we're looking like. 96 offense, 75 defense, 81 goaltending. That's a Russian team already. At least, in recent times. Not saying, the Russian teams haven't had good defensemen, but, it's been a while since the days of Slava Fetisov and others leading the way. Evgeny Malkin looks damn good in that jersey, though, doesn't he? Brad Marchand, the top option on the Bruins at this point. Oh, by the way, the AHL team, some very interesting players to keep an eye on this year as a lot of our top prospects are signed. Rodion Amarov is there. Alexander Medvedov, who we just drafted in the second round. We're playing him in the AHL this year rather than leaving him unsigned. Chistov, again, we need good development from him. Kavanov, Kulemin, Kirill Marchenko. There are some decent names there that we're going to see, how well they develop this year. So I know it's a risk to wait it out and wait to see how good we're going to be rather than just making moves now and betting on this team. But I can't help but be a little bit passive. And who knows, this team may very well surprise us. And like I said, around the deadline, if we're in a really good spot, then yeah, we use one or two of those prospects. We use a first-round pick. We go out and we get the defensive help that could push this team over the edge. But if the offense is playing to the level that they're capable of, which so far they are, and if the goaltending is on point, this is going to be a very good season for us. As Gavrikov is back from injury, especially with the morale system on, with the way some of these guys could improve, this could be very, very interesting for us. There we go. Gavrikov is back. Of course, Mukhamadullin is in on defense as well. The minus is on defense simply because there is a lack of defensemen on the team. We're playing multiple forwards on defense because we don't have any defensemen signed. But that's just the way it works. But right now, the Dynamo firing on all cylinders. So we are the top team in the division. We need to take out Grigorenko for, who was it? It was Kavanov. Let's get him back in the lineup. Looking good. Probably could have gotten some better positives for that team, but I figured with their defensive situation being what it is, it really wasn't worth looking for line chemistry. It probably wasn't going to help all that much. Right now we're sitting at 12-4. It's apparently going to be a good year for rookies, but obviously we are playing with extra rules. I have a couple of pro scouts. Actually, did I not change the scouts? I could have sworn I changed the scouts. Ooh, that's a rough mistake. That's going to set us back a little bit. I could have sworn, we would have had some Russian scouts still, too. I could have sworn I changed this. Damn. The good thing is we still had plenty of scouts over in Russia, so it's not as if we wouldn't have been making, any progress this entire time. As we have, what would that have been? I didn't get a good look at the numbers. 72 prospects, I think it was. I think we have 72 prospects in Russia in this draft, right? What were the numbers? 68 plus 4, 72. Hey, look at that. Math. Math. Take that, math teachers. You need algebra. I don't. I'm not building a bridge. I just need to know vaguely how to add, which I can barely do, but I can do enough to not look like a complete moron on the internet most of the time. Okay, maybe some of the time. Okay, on a few occasions, I don't look dumb on the internet. Most of the time, I probably do. I definitely do. I look dumb on the internet 99% of the time. 99.9% of the time. You happy? There. Now I'm being honest. Jesus, kill my self-esteem, why don't you? I just wanted to entertain through the power of hockey-related video games. Because that's a niche market. Oh, God. Anyway, back to the sim. Perfect. Let's keep going. And let's see how we do. Oh, the injuries. Latipov, I don't believe, is a major player for us, so I probably won't rush to get him back in the lineup, as we are struggling a bit down the stretch here. We lose to Calgary, but 15-7-1, that is good enough for second place in the Atlantic Division. Let's move on to January. Let's keep rolling. I don't really plan on making any changes with the team or with the lineup, at least not yet, as we continue to do well. This is what I was looking forward to. Let's take a look at the draft class. What do we got? No Russians in the top 5, which honestly is probably a good thing, because it would be very difficult for us to trade up right now without giving up some top-notch players. So there shouldn't be any Russians left outside of just the region itself. So the top Russian is mid-first round, Matvey Michkov. Michkov. Holy crap. Better than I thought it would be. 1 year out with the Lafleur comparison. That is beautiful. I hit the wrong button. All right, let's go back. Apparently hitting the Y button can just bring you back to the main menu from there. I had no idea. Alex Ovechkin is not scoring as many goals as I thought he would, especially with who he's playing with. That top line's been a little bit disappointing. Kravtsov, Malkin, Ovechkin. They're not exactly doing as well as I thought they would have. Huh. We're going to leave it as is, though, because we're winning. But that is bizarre. Oh, Igor. Yes, and Askarov. Yes. Goaltending. Imagine. We have goaltending. Oh, God, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it with my own eyes. We actually have goaltending. Thank God for that. Let's take a look at the Russians. So we also have Alexander Vorobiev. Meh. In the early stages of the second round. We might as well just pin all of these players. Why did the Y button bring me out of the menu? I have no idea. Vyacheslav Galiev. Meh. So far, Valeria Finneganov. Okay, his defense is pretty poor. Oh boy, yeah, see, this isn't going to be a good draft for us anyway. Not at all. It might be worth getting rid of that pick now, because we should still have the assets to be able to trade up and get that dude at the 15th pick. Yeah, we're making moves right now. Right now. Let's do this. We're going for it this year. We're going to look to make the playoffs. So to player search we go. We'll go to our watch list. And I think, depending on the value of the trade or the value of the pick, we might be looking at Dmitry Orlov first. And then we'll give up a prospect, hopefully, to get Romanov. Otherwise, if we can't get Orlov now, we'll try to get him later in the season. So let's see. Washington is really struggling, too. Do they have anybody? Which they should, because they have no cap space. They have big contracts, but they're all value players. They ended up with Mika Zibanejad. Richard Panik would be great to take back in this deal just to get something back, and then I'll flip him for a 7th, literally just to get rid of him. So that first round pick still has good value. This should work. Will that go through straight up? No. Okay. How are we going to pull this off? How are we going to pull this off? That is the question. That is the $1 million question. How are we going to pull this off without having to give up anybody who's too valuable? So I think, again, we're looking at the likes of Goldobin, Marchenko, Sokolov. Sokolov really doesn't have that much value, though. Is he a good fit on our fourth line so far this year? Yeah, he's been okay. He's been all right. I don't see how I can pull this off if that value still isn't there. Aside from adding in these dead-end picks. Still rejected. Yeah, Dmitry Orlov, still a bit too valuable. So he's going to be a tough player to pick up, so we're going to look to target Alex Romanov. Because again, Sergachev and Provorov, that's not going to happen unless we give up Chistov and more. And that would require them wanting to move one of those two players. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. So we can give up this pick for Romanov and then still hopefully have the assets to get back into the first round to get that one dude, and then we're good to go. So let's safety net this with a bit of pick hoarding. Are we good? Too far off. Take out the fourth. Are we good? Too far off. Take out the fifth. Sweeten it just a touch. 1 for 1? 1 for 1 works. We're trading our first round pick to get Alex Romanov to increase our chances of making the playoffs this year. Let's do it. First rounder for Romanov in a 7th. There we go. We have brought in defensive help in the form of Alex Romanov. We will hopefully be able to get Dmitry Orlov later on this season. But just like that, we are committing to a winning season this year. That is the goal. So Sigalet will be sent down. Romanov is up. And that means Renat Valiev is going to be moving into a healthy scratch role. Wow, okay, some people aren't happy that Jonathan Sigalet left the team. A lot of people aren't happy that Jonathan Sigalet left the team. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Maybe they just love him because he has so much money to spend. I'd be moving over the player limit. You know what? Then screw it. You got to deal with it. Sorry. Dinner's not on Jonathan every single night now, boys. Hate to tell you. Hate to tell you. So we're going to go best lines. And then defensively, Romanov, Alexiev as a 1-2 punch. Probably not. I still want Alexiev with Kulikov because of the offensive defensive. Lyabushkin's not a good fit on that second line. That works. That works. That is the plan right there. Kulikov, Alexiev, Romanov, Gavrikov, Lyabushkin, and Rykov, or Rykov. I'm not sure which one it is. And then offensively, again, we're going to go Kravtsov, Malkin, Ovechkin. Get Guryanov on the left. Trenin goes up. Mikhaev goes here. Goldobin goes there. Zhikov on the right. Progorkin out for Sokolov. That's looking good. That's looking good. I'm just surprised. Maybe there's not enough of the puck to go around for some of the members of the top 6. Maybe that's what it is. It is also still a little bit early, so we can't be too judgmental. We'll go best lines. That gets Mahamadulin and Vorobyov there. Sigalet works really well together with Tulipov, who is one of the key players that we're focusing on this year. Let me just make sure that there's nobody scratched that we don't want scratched. We're good to go. So obviously, like, it dropped down someone like Kavanaugh to the 4th line. Not too happy about that. That keeps a positive, though. What if I do this? I think it's because Vorobyov's a grinder. What if we do... Oh, what is the best way to avoid this? What is the best way to avoid negatives? There we go. Perfect. Perfect. I'll take it. Let's move forward. So a big move to bring in Romanov, and it might not be the last move that we make. Now, the interesting thing with Orlov is that he is likely, from the looks of it, to end up being a free agent. So we'll have to make that judgment call as to whether or not it's worth giving up a prospect to go out and get him later on this season, or if it's just worth waiting. It might be worth waiting because we might have to use a prospect to go out and get back into the first round to get that one Russian player in the mid-teens. That might be the best way to handle it. So we do have a couple of decisions to make moving forward, but this team is looking really, really good right now. We're going to have to edit the lines manually here, which is fine. We'll do the same thing. It'll be best lines. Come on. G-Staff. And let's put Kavanaugh there. Beautiful. Quick and easy. Quick and easy in terms of the changes. I like it. Let's keep going. Speaking of Washington, lose 2-1. Unfortunate. Still 21 wins on the season. Oof. Ooh, we're getting leveled all of a sudden. 4 straight losses heading into January. But still 21, 12, and 2. I like the looks of this. Ovi 41 points in 35 games. Can't complain about that. Rangers have a very good record. Let's just take a quick look at the team. Quick look at the lines. See what could be changed. As Vitaly Kravtsov. That top line's not gelling incredibly well. The point totals are okay, but it's not quite where you'd want it to be. So I do wonder. Ooh, yes, that's the answer. Trenin, Malkin, Ovechkin. Who can play center here, though? I don't think anybody can. Oh, damn, that sucks. Trenin's a much better fit for that top line. What if we put Tarasenko there? What if we put Tarasenko there and we go Gurionov, Trenin, Kravtsov? Let's try that for a little bit. Let's try that for a little bit. And the Kulikov, Alexiev pairing's not great. Makes me think the goaltending slipped a little bit. A little bit. Both are still okay, though, in comparison to some of the higher-rated goalies that we've had in other series throughout the years who have just completely shit the bed. So let's keep going. I know we made lineup changes when we have a winning record, but, you know, it's a little bit concerning. Looks like a lot of the damage the top line was doing was on the power play. Even strength wasn't going so hot for them. As we are continuing to lose games. Not ideal. We are continuing to lose games. We are in free fall right now. We lose again. Okay, well, this is a hell of a losing streak and one hell of a dilemma now, isn't it? Again, in absolute free fall out of nowhere. And that is a big-time problem. Now, Cheestoff's up by 2, so I don't know if we'll be getting rid of him anytime soon. That second line's not working. That third line's not working either. Right. Right. Goldobin. Hold on. Goldobin can't play center. So Kamenev, unfortunately, you're going to have to stay there. Because Mikheyev can't play center either. And Mikheyev, there's been a debate all season long. People say Mikheyev. Sportsnet says Mikheyev. But then other people are like, no, it's Mikheyev in the Russian accent. And others Mikheyev. As long as you know who I'm talking about, it's fine. Oh, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Because Goldobin's just not getting the job done. Gurionov's been okay. Trenin's been okay. I don't think sending down Trenin's the way to go. It might be, though. Maybe bump up Barbashev. And then Kravtsov, Gurionov. And again, that second line hasn't exactly been killing it. You know what? Denis Gurionov, congratulations. You're going to get a chance. And we're going to go with Kravtsov, Barbashev, Tarasenko. Just continue to mix and match. And let's see if that can snap us out of this pretty brutal slump that we've been in. And we do win 4-1 against Detroit. Let's see if that sustains, though. 3 straight wins. Decent. We went from second in the division, though, to being out of the playoffs. But that winning streak right there should help quite a bit. Now, a quick look again at the players that we have available. And again, it's really just Matvei Michkov that we care about. He's going to be something. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like a 76 medium top 6. At this point, whether or not there ends up being any steals, time will tell. Right now, it's not looking like a very good draft for Russians, though. Which is why, as Askarov tears his hamstring and is out for pretty much the rest of the year. Holy hell. That's a major setback. Alexiev's going to be out for a little bit. About a week. That's wow, okay. So I was going to say, to finish the first point, it's very nice that we focused on the draft because now we have a rough draft ahead. And if we didn't have that prospect pool built up, we'd be screwed. So I feel justified in making that move. Losing Yaroslav Askarov for basically the rest of this year is potentially devastating to his developments. That could really, really hurt how he continues to improve. I mean, he had been pretty good so far this year. He'd been great this year. That could be a major setback for his development, and that scares me quite a bit. But we have arrived. February 1st, back in a wild card spot. The question now, what is the status of Dmitry Orlov? Because now without our first round pick, we're going for the playoffs this year. Unless this next month is absolutely horrific for us, we're going for it. And the thing is, we don't have a ton of value on the likes of Malkin and Ovechkin. It would allow us to get draft picks back. It would allow us to get Teratukin and Orlov for sure. I do wonder, though, if Orlov's now on the block. Please, he is not. Do the Leafs have that prospect on the block? I don't think they do. They do. Okay, we need to make a move for this kid right now, although there's a chance he's not going to develop. But we should be able to get him for relatively cheap, and he'll be playing in the AHL for the rest of the year, so that's not too bad. We could send Mikheyev back, but that doesn't make too much sense. Zykov could be used. Toronto would be over the cap for next year. Okay, well, obviously I can just retain. Although, let's double check to see, because Prokhorkin can just play on the fourth line. That's not a big deal. Let's see if they have anybody that we can take back who has negative value. My God, those contracts for them. Whew. Derek Grant. Let me take on Derek Grant, and then we'll also retain salary on Zykov. And obviously we're going to have to add picks to this. Let me just stock up on the low-value picks. That's not surprising that that was rejected. Let's look at a third rounder next year. How close? Rejected, not surprising. Again, I'm trying to judge how low his value now is. Oh boy, we might have to use a second here, but it'd be worth it. Use that second rounder. Oh boy, our ability to trade up into the first round is going to be compromised a little bit. My God. See, you can never be like, Toogie, you pick horde too much. Yeah, the AI does the same thing. Will that go through? No. What about now? No. Okay, so the whole Derek Grant negative value thing really isn't going to play a factor. I'm trying to see, though, obviously, if we can get Teratukin without having to give up too much. Still rejected. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Second this year, a third next year. You give me back a couple of low picks. What do you say? Still no. Take that out. Still no. Quite far off, they say. Like, I know Zykov isn't the most valuable player. You know what? Screw it. I'm not doing this right now. I'm not doing this right now. Screw it. So Orlov still isn't available. The bottom line is we need to sim. We need to sim the rest of the month, and that's going to dictate what happens next. Where we are in the standings, whether or not it's worth keeping Malkin and Ovechkin. It's a late deadline this year. It's in March. This next month is going to dictate how we go about things. Are we going to keep Malkin and Ovechkin and go for it in the playoffs, go out and trade for Dmitry Orlov? Or are we going to hold off? Are we going to... Well, I mean, I guess, are we going to hold off on going for it would be the correct way to phrase it. And are we going to trade Malkin and Ovechkin, recoup some draft picks that we can then use to go out and get younger players, which was originally the goal. I do have to edit lines in the AHL for the sake of defensive chemistry. Cheestoff's up to a 76, so I don't think we're getting rid of him anytime soon. He has benefited extremely well from playing this year. Muhammadulin, easy for me to say. Super tongue-tied there. He's up to a 75, so we are seeing some good development. Medvedev is still stuck where he was, though. as we lose to Buffalo. I don't know what happened against Pittsburgh. Zach Cassian's on the move. We beat Pittsburgh 7-2. 32 wins on the season. Obviously going to be our best regular season record regardless of what happens from here on out. As Andrew Shaw, I think, was just dealt for the second time in like a week. Vegas, can we get the win? There's probably going to be another trade coming up here. More than likely, we lose to Vegas. Still in a playoff spot, though. Philadelphia, big win. Can we beat Nashville? Please, can we beat Nashville? No, we cannot. Radulov is on the move. Of course, a player we could look to target, but he's old enough that it's not worth trading for him. Kirill Kaprizov. Holy hell, what a trade. Kaprizov on the move to San Jose. Again, a player we've used in the past, but a player that we could look to target in this series at some point. Killorn and Skivior, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. Apparently I've been mispronouncing that. Verupe Hintz and Zdeno Chara. Can we beat Vancouver? The Cuve. Yes, we can, and they're a pretty damn good team. Sigalet keeps getting hurt, and we lose to Anaheim. So we are in a wild card spot, but very much in the mix. Very much in the mix. Kenny Malkin leading this team in points. I think the first thing to do here is to go over to Washington and see if Dmitry Orlov's on the block, because we're going for it this year. We have no choice. We are absolutely going for it this year. So Orlov's not on the trade block. He hasn't signed an extension. And then there is also, I don't think Alexiev's Russian, is he? No, he is. But Dmitry Orlov is there. And he is obviously our top target, but he is super expensive. The problem is with getting rid of everybody right now, or I want to say with everybody, is that we got to be careful because we want to make sure we get that next dude in the draft. So, I mean, if you look at our value forwards, Medvedev goes nowhere, Kavanagh goes nowhere. We could use Kulemin. We could. 20 years old in the 71. We could also use Volchenkov. I think we probably will use Kulemin and Volchenkov to get Orlov and that defenseman from the Leafs. That makes sense. Because Vishnevsky, a year younger, 2 overall points weaker than Volchenkov. Obviously, Kulemin's behind both Kavanagh and Medvedev. And then medium 9-wise, I think we probably do want to hold on to the Goldobins and the Mikheyevs of the world. I think that's the right move to make. I think it is. And then goaltending-wise, again, Karpatsev's there in the future if we have a chance to make a trade for a big-name player. So I think next episode, we make the move for Orlov. We make the move for that prospect from the Leafs, which is a little bit bigger of a risk, but it'll get another solid player into the system who, even if he ends up being a third-pairing guy, we can't be picky right now. Defense is where we're going to struggle. It's just making sure that we don't overextend by getting these two players here. Samorukov, just don't overextend to get Orlov and Teratukin, because we do need the value to trade back up into the first round. So we are going to end it here so that you guys can get your suggestions in as far as what to do. I thank you very much for watching. Next episode, hopefully, rest of the season and the first round of the playoffs for the first time. But Malkin, Ovechkin, they're staying, and we're going for it. Thank you for watching. Drop a like if you haven't already. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Check out everything in the description. Shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. That's gone much better than I ever expected. And I will see you guys next time.